Very insightful message and she thought. Wow. So let's talk about this a little bit. He was recalling a game from 2022 between Nodirbek and but with the idea
and Nepomniachtchi, yes.
And it's interesting that he was pointing out very clearly that Black had to waste time because he went G6 first. He wasted time to go Bishop G7, which we were discussing before, and but Magnus is kind of happy with his position that he went to this direction, and he says, well, okay, he wants to go D4. Basically, so much so that there is nothing to stop him doing so, right?
Yes.
Because even after G6, he's planning to go D4 and sacrifice a pawn for it.
That's the point.
For temporary.
Yes, so after G6, D4 looks very good for white, exactly for this Bishop H6 idea. And for this reason, there is just no way Hikaru will ever play the move G6 here. Magnus said that here he's expecting the move short castle, and then suddenly I lost Magnus because I had to jump back one move and he was already rushing. Nicholas, did you? Probably you catched it so that we can just very correctly, precisely show what Magnus was highlighting.
Of having the king on f1, rook on g1 for the moment, and having the bishop in the corner. Because of course the h1 bishop has no big problem at all. Once you play g3, bishop g2, or without bishop g2, it activates itself after g3. And if one can play against this bishop and not allowing and striking the movement of the bishop of h1 and the movement of the pawn on g2, it means it can cause quite some trouble. And also if after b6 d4 takes, rook is not belonging on d4 when the black bishop is on the long diagonal and he can play g6 because it's losing tempos. So it is a very nice touch to see that, because the drawback of the position, we can say that the queen is really standing worse on a8 than anywhere else. And suddenly after b6, the position's drawback is turned into something beneficial after bishop b7. And I love these solutions, not only on the chessboard, also in life. And it seems like it's a problem what you have in your situation on the board, off the board, and somehow you turn it into beneficial idea.
Yes. Yeah, it's lovely. Actually, b6, bishop e7, once black gets this, then one could argue that the queen is perfectly placed on a8, on the long diagonal. How many times we have seen great maestros playing like this, also in the reti, yeah, that white plays, okay, now I'm showing from the black side, queen is on d8, rook is on a8. How do we get that queen to a8? You go rook c8, rook c7, queen a8. Yeah, it's a very typical kind of idea. Of course, not exactly in this position, because now rook on c7 would be targeted immediately by white's knight. But in general, I just want to highlight that we understand absolutely that that queen on a8 can be a very... and bishop e7 is the problem.
Maybe he even now realized that Rook h2 was possible.
Yes, certainly now he realizes everything. That's how it works with chess.
But I don't think I don't think he realizes, because Rook h2, the visuals were bad.
Yes.
So he's now thinking, where did I go wrong at a certain point, and yeah.
Horrible shock for Hikaru. No, but his body language signaled that he was believing that what he's doing is correct. He wouldn't be shocked like this if...
I think a move like bishop e2
is a sign.
You know that it's not the move. You kind of feel that there's no way you're going to save your position when you go bishop e2, yeah.
Can he try king h8?
Yeah, and then bishop somewhere, bishop e7.
Yeah, and then check on the diagonal is deadly.
Bishop e7, rook takes h2, bishop takes g5.
Yeah.
That's too much.
I wonder if we can hear them actually after the game.
You can, yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah,
yes.
that would be interesting to know if Hikaru actually saw that rook h2 gives him drawing chances.
I'm not sure after the game
There will be anything.
he will be in the mood to discuss anything. It is huge frustration, even though that in the last 20 moves, basically it was very clear that he's very much fighting for a draw and on the edge whether he has realistic chances. But then he found them.
And one move to throw it all away.
And Magnus knows it, that I have the victory in my hands.
Yeah, now there is no hope.
He goes down on time and probably he will be blitzing out the rest of the game. Because he understands that maybe there is the only chance if Magnus will be also playing too fast. The question is, can he misplay this position?
No, he can't.
It's automatic.
Yes.
And Fabi is almost winning.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous situation for Vincent with his knight far away, but we will deal with this if Magnus's game is over.
15 seconds for Hikaru.
Yeah, I think he's going to resign.
Yeah.
No, he will play some more moves.
I don't think so.
No, now it seems like he goes down in time and...
Well, he's just losing it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he resigns. Wow.
Rook h2, yes. Magnus saw it.
Oh, I thought actually in the game of